financial dysfunction, even in an egalitarian society, just think of Scandinavia in the early 1990s or Japan, and you'll see, well, it can't be that only, right, that the sole cause of financial fragility or volatility is sort of inegalitarian distribution. By the same token, it's not the case, we don't believe, that the idea that the project of financial supervision and regulation is futile unless you close income and wealth gaps. It's not the case that, well, it's a fool's errand. We're all wasting our time here as financial regulators. Until we solve the inequality problem, there's just no hope for financial regulation, so give it up, pipsqueak, and move on, and then become, sort of revitalize the labor union. The way we think of it is, if you think of the financial volatility and financial fragility, you can think of it as sort of a cauldron, right? I think there's like a fire under the cauldron, right? Good regulation, as the fire sort of builds up the pressure within the cauldron, right? Good regulation can be viewed as a kind of a pressure valve or something that lets some of that pressure off, that prevents it from exploding. Somebody used the word explosion earlier. Let's use it again. Good regulation could prevent another explosion, or at least head off another explosion. But the job becomes easier if you can lower the flame a bit, right? If you can sort of basically lower the heat. And one way to partly lower the heat is to do something about the inequality in wealth and income, right? All right, now, finally, our little reports. Yes.
So
have I sucked up all the...
You're out of time, but I'll give you 5 more minutes, but then...
Oh, well, probably don't need that many. Let me, I'm talking too much. I always do that, sorry. So maybe, Daniel, if you don't mind, I want Daniel just to say a little bit about some of the preliminary correlations that we found. And again, bear in mind, we're trying to corroborate the presence and operation of the particular components of the mechanism. Okay, so I'm just going to hand it over to you and just get out of the way.
So I'll try to be quick. I want to thank Bob for inviting me to tag along. I'll just go through a couple of quick slides to kind of touch on some of the dynamics you mentioned. This is just a visual representation of the marginal propensity to consume, and we can see that the different parts of each column are the spending done by each income group. The red line moving through there is the income share held by the top 5%. So the top blue part of the column are the same people as that red line. And basically what this is showing is that from 2003 to 2007, they had a huge rise in their income share, but not an equivalent rise in their spending. So that kind of creates a problem for growth. And if we believe that the economy grows from consumption spending, and if we know that wages have stagnated for the vast majority of Americans since the 1970s, then there has to be some sort of stand-in for that relative income loss. And so, as Bob talked about, we believe one part of that puzzle is the debt. And so here you can see the blue line is consumption spending. It's been on a relatively consistent trajectory. But as wages have stagnated, which are the green line, you see debt has sort of picked up the slack. So I'm going to move through a lot of the stuff which says the same thing, and I'm going to get to our more sensitive testing. We wanted to find some way to evaluate these relationships over the long term. So what we did was called ARIMA testing. It's autoregressive integrated moving averages, which will put you to sleep just trying to say it. And so we looked at 100 years worth of data, basically. We looked at income inequality, a few measures of market volatility, just